What's going on, YouTube? Bacon here, bringing you another video. This one going to be my week 4 match for season 3 of the VPL. This week we're going up against the Bethlehem Bisharp, coached by Jacob. This is actually the first time we played Jacob in the league, even though it's the 3rd season. Just never ended up having the matchup with him during the seasons. But really excited to play him here. We're both 2-1 coming into this game, and we're in the same division. So definitely kind of a big game for us to come out with a W, get that tiebreaker on him if we have the head-to-head matchup, if it comes down to like differential or something at the end of the season. Jacob, very good battler, definitely able to kind of play and prep unconventionally in some respects. So coming into games is definitely difficult to be aware of exactly what 6 he's going to bring and what kind of sets and stuff. But definitely no joke over there on the other side of the field. So really put a lot of effort into the prep on this one. I'm pretty happy with the team that we came out of it with. But for now, I'm just going to quickly go over the Pokemon he's got on his team. He's got the Thunderous Incarnate, Azelf, Chandelure, Dragalge, Gastrodon, Chatot, Mega Diancie, Bisharp, Cloyster, Decidueye, and Rotom Frost, with his Omni-Z user being the Chandelure. So, really threatening offensive team on his end. I was thinking something like the Gastrodon or the Dragalge is going to come, just because they're great checks to my Tapu Koko, and also to some extent my Greninja. But one of the main things I was kind of eyeing in prep was the Cloyster, the Bisharp, or the main things I was eyeing in prep were like the Cloyster, the Bisharp, and the Gastrodon. I was thinking he'd bring. Then he had some kind of flexibility. I was expecting the Mega Diancie, probably the Thunderous, maybe the Chandelure, a couple other things. Dragalge did come against me in a couple prep matches, but just really quickly going over the team that I built in kind of preparation for this. I've got a Spadef, Max HP Klefki with leftovers, Prankster Thunderwave, Toxic, Magnet Rise, and Flash Cannon. Magnet Rise allows me to dodge Earth Power from both the Diancie and the Gastrodon. And I can Toxic the Gastrodon as well after I've gone for a Magnet Rise. You really can't do too much to me with Scald. The burn would be a little bit annoying, but I'm willing to trade that for a Toxic on Gastrodon. Flash Cannon obviously will do massive damage to the Mega Diancies. This is my primary Mega Diancie switch in. Thunder Wave basically so I don't get swept by a Shell Smash Cloyster. Obviously I can't really touch Bisharp on this set, so the rest of the team's kind of going to have to handle that. But Klefki I thought was kind of a must bring this week for basically just the Cloyster, and the Mega Diancie alone I think necessitated the Klefki bring. Next up, we got kind of a cool set with Whitney the Miltank here. We've got kind of a mixed Miltank here, not in the sense that it's mixed bulk, it's kind of mixed purpose. So I've got Groundium Z, Earthquake, Body Slam, Milk Drink, and Toxic. So mostly max HP, a lot in special defense, and a little bit of speed and physical attack dripped in there. Basically, the point of the Miltank is to switch in on the Chandelure. Thick Fat basically allows me to check every variant of Chandelure besides like a sub-toxic set. That would still have to be running kind of a lot of speed to outrun me here. I can basically switch in on whatever his Chandelure wants to go for. Turn 1 on my first prep game, I got tricked a Choice Specs by the Chandelure on my Miltank, which is obviously not desirable. So I ended up switching it to a Z Crystal so I couldn't be tricked. Basically, he could make a great read there and go for trick on my Miltank coming in, but actually end up getting punished for it because I have the Groundium Z on there. And Groundium Z Earthquake is kind of nice to help me try and snake some big damage off on Diancie or the Dragalge should he have decided to bring that. I was really kind of happy with the Miltank set this week, and also the Z Crystal on it helping me switch in on like knockoff from Bisharp as well. So kind of just a general good purpose switch in here to form my defensive backbone with the Klefki this week. Really kind of happy with how the Miltank set ended up turning out. Next up, we got Frogchamp the Greninja coming in another game here. I believe it's the only Pokemon I've brought to every game this season. We got Grassium Z with Hydro Pump, Grass Knot, Ice Beam, and Dark Pulse. Basically, this coverage allows me to hit pretty much all of his team super effectively, or at least very hard. Grassium Z Grass Knot should OHKO a Spadef Gastrodon, because despite Grass Knot not actually being great against Gastrodon because it's not very heavy, the Grassium Z version I believe is 160 base power, so big nuke there for the Gastrodon. Obviously I've got the double Z, so it's kind of dependent on the situations I'm in, whether the Miltank or the Greninja is going to be the one to pop the Grassium Z, or the Z move in general. but really happy with how the Greninja set turned out as well. I think it's got great coverage for his team. It's going to be a huge problem for him coming in. Next up, we got Goskowski, the Hitmonlee, coming to its first game of the season. We got Life Orb knockoff, Bullet Punch, Mach Punch, Close Combat with Limber. Limber actually to dodge like a Prankster Thunder Wave from his Thundurus. Didn't really feel the need to run Unburden this week. Like if I get knocked off by the Bisharp or something, I guess it could be valuable. But I kind of preferred the idea of a potential Thunder Wave Thundurus running around, not being able to paralyze me. Obviously, didn't really need Reckless since I'm not running High Jump Kick on the set anyways. So I just kind of slapped Limber on there, but didn't necessarily matter too much in that respect. But Hitmonlee being basically ready to check the Bisharp and the Diancie offensively. Bullet Punch won't necessarily OHKO the Mega Diancie depending on his spread, but it'll obviously, if it's chipped a little bit, be in range of a Bullet Punch pretty early in the game. Mach Punch being a great check for pretty much any set of Bisharp he wants to run. He can't Sucker Punch me if I outspeed him, that kind of thing. Close Combat, just hitting his team really hard. Even physically defensive Gastrodon doesn't want to switch in on Close Combat. Life Orb boosted Close Combat. And Knockoff being nice for his Double Ghost and Decidueye and Chandelure. Next up, we got Assault Vest Nidoking, Kingpin here with Sheer Force, Earth Power, Ice Beam, Fire Blast, and Sludge Wave. Basically coverage to hit his whole team super effectively. I can take an Earth Power from the Diancie and fire back with a big Earth Power. And I can try and chip down things like the Gastrodon. I can potentially stay in on like a Scald or an Earth Power or something like that, and fire off a pretty big hit of my own. And last up here, we got Claydol, Eternally Grateful with the Colbur Berry, Stealth Rock, Rapid Spin, Earth Power, and Psyshock. Max HP, a lot in actually special attack and a little bit in special defense. Basically, the purpose of the Colbur Berry is to eat like a knockoff from the Bisharp and KO that thing with an Earth Power. I've also got Stealth Rock, Rapid Spin, and Psyshock. Stealth Rocks are really good against his team to chip down things like the Chandelure, Cloyster, Thundurus, Chatot. They're all weak to rocks, and he doesn't really have great hazard removal, I'll say. He's got some, and obviously Magic Bounce on Diancie, but Diancie doesn't really want to stay in on Claydol for the most part anyways, and Earth Power will do a good chunk to that thing. Rapid Spin just to get rid of his hazards, and the Dual Stab was kind of just the best combination of the moves to hit the rest of his team. So, without further ado, we'll get into the game here. Just looking at what he brought, he didn't end up bringing the Mega Diancie, which I'm pretty happy to not see, even though I've got some pretty good responses to it. That thing's still a huge threat, so you don't want to... If I can play a game without Mega Diancie in it, that's fine with me. He also didn't bring the Chandelure, which really hurts the fact that I brought this Miltank. The Miltank's not as important at this point in the game. It can still do some work, get Toxics on the Gastrodon and things like that, potentially throw off a Paralysis on like the Azel for the Cloyster or something with a Body Slam. But overall, not too useful in this game. So he's got Bisharp, Chatot, Azelf, Cloyster, Thundurus, and Gastrodon. Basically just looking at lead matchup here, I'm pretty sure that's going to be like a suicide lead Azelf to get up Stealth Rocks, potentially set screens on me. So I'm just going to lead off with my Klefki. He's got the best matchup overall against his team, and he does lead the Azelf, so I can just throw off a Thunder Wave turn 1. If he switches out into Bisharp, I can go into Miltank or something like that. But just throwing off the Thunder Wave turn 1, and I get immediately rewarded with the beautiful yellow color, snagging the Paralysis on Azelf right to begin the game, which is really excellent because I'm pretty sure he's just going for Stealth Rocks here, so I can get in my Claydol pretty freely and set rocks of my own. He really doesn't appreciate them, and his only potential Rapid Spinner in this game is Cloyster, which I'm predicting to be a Shell Smash variant, so probably not carrying Rapid Spin. But I'll get up my own Stealth Rocks here, as he does just reveal the knockoff and do some big damage to my Claydol. It looks like he's probably physically offensively invested. I'm pretty sure this thing has Explosion now, actually. But I'm just going to stay in and Rapid Spin his rocks. If he wants to reset them, that's fine with me, but he's going to be wasting a turn to get him back up. And obviously, Claydol is not the most useful in this game now that I've gotten rocks up and he's popped my Colbur Berry. I can't live like a knockoff or anything from the Bisharp anymore with that much damage on me. So I'm just going to get in my Greninja here on what I'm predicting to be a reset of his Stealth Rocks, and it is. He's got no switch-ins for Greninja. Like, just looking at his team, he could go Gastrodon, but I know I've got the Grassy MZ, so I really don't care. I just click Dark Pulse and obliterate this Azelf. So, taking Suicide lead very seriously there. It's just sat there for 6 turns and died. It did get up Stealth Rocks, obviously. That's a little bit annoying for me. I could potentially spin against like the Gastrodon later. But now he brings out the Thundurus. I'm a little worried about Choice Scarf Thundurus because it would outrun things like my Greninja and my Tapu Koko, so it seems like a reasonable bring versus me. But I'm just going to go into my Nidoking here as he does show Thunder Wave. I'm not sure if he knew that wouldn't work against my Greninja because my Greninja is a Dark type, assuming that's Prankster Thunder Wave. But I'm just going to get my Nidoking. It's a great response to this Thundurus, and I'm just going to throw off an Ice Beam. If he stays in, great. I can KO the Thundurus. If not, I get to kind of scout out what his Gastrodon set is. That Ice Beam did a lot of damage actually to his Gastrodon, so it looks like he's not Spadef invested, which basically means my Grassy is guaranteed to kill it with Greninja anyways. I'm going to go Claydol on the off chance he recovers and I can rapid spin these rocks, but he makes a good play there and just goes for Scald and knocks out my Claydol. Right now I don't have great responses to this Gastrodon, so I'm just got to go out into my Miltank. I'm pretty sure he's going to Toxic me with the Gastrodon here, but Toxic of my own is really nice. I don't want to reveal that I have the Grassy Z on Greninja yet, and if he predicts that and gets in like Bisharp or something, it's not great for me. But just going for the Toxic here to whittle down this Gastrodon, probably force him to recover at some point. And I'm a little bit ahead in the HP war here, so I should win this Toxic battle despite the fact that both of us have recovery. I'm just going to Body Slam for damage, again, forcing him to recover at some point. But the kind of gentleman Toxic's turn there. Going to slow down the game here a little bit in the middle of the match. Just sitting here, Miltank versus Gastrodon here. I'm thinking he'll probably expect me to recover up this turn, but I really don't care too much about what he wants to go into, because my Miltank, like I mentioned, without the Chandelure being here, isn't particularly useful. So I'm just going to Milk Drink back to full as he brings in the Thundurus. I really want to make the big dick read here and go out into my Greninja. I'm pretty certain he's brought this thing in to defog on me, because otherwise he wouldn't have just been kind of willing to throw it away, and he does show the defog. So too bad I didn't end up getting my Greninja in there, but it was a little bit too risky for my taste, especially when Greninja can just body half his team, or pretty much all of his team at this point with the range they're all at. I'm just going to chip down the Thundurus a little bit more, guarantee it's in range of a potential Ice Beam if he's Yachi Berry or something weird like that. And he's just gonna knock me out with the Electrium Z. So Miltank's gone, but I'm not too caught up about it. Like I mentioned, it was really only here for the Chandelure to not beat me. So it did its job. It Toxic the Gastrodon. It kind of forced the Thundurus to take a lot of damage. And now Greninja gets to come in yet again and kill something else. Basically, no reason to over predict here. Again, he can't Thunder Wave me. Prankster Thunder Wave doesn't work on Dark types in Gen 7. So just gonna pick up another kill with Greninja here, clicking Dark Pulse. I still haven't revealed anything about this Greninja. I've just come in and clicked Dark Pulse twice. So he still doesn't know if I'm Specs or Scarf or anything like that. But he brings out the Chatot here. I have to scout for Choice Scarf on this thing. I have no... Like, I can't allow my Greninja to go down here in the match, because like I mentioned, it just bodies his whole team. And he shows Boom Burst here. It does a massive amount of damage to my Klefki, so I'm thinking it's Choice Specs. But he actually revealed after the game that it was Modest Scarf. So I was sitting on the rolls like, oh, it's not a Timid roll, it's probably a Specs. So I was kind of working with that in the back of my mind here, thinking he's a Specs Chatot. But obviously, I can't stay in with my Klefki here because he gets a free Bisharp or Gastrodon on me since that thing's already toxic. Bisharp was what I was most scared about him going into, so I doubled back out into my Nidoking. But this is fine. Nidoking also not having as much use now that the Thundurus is gone and Mega Diancie's not here. I'm just going to chip down this Gastrodon and get that thing out of my way. I've got really no reason to save it at this point in the match. Yeah, at full it can live a hit from Bisharp, but I've got other good answers to Bisharp in the back, mostly my Hitmonlee. But I'm just going to be able to knock out this Gastrodon as he didn't end up recovering. Like I mentioned, it was not Spadef Gastrodon, so it was not going to take those Earth Powers plus Toxic damage or anything like that. Now he's pretty much got to go out into Chatot or Cloyster. He chooses Cloyster, and I basically can't let him set up here. Like, I can't... Even though I have Thunder Wave on Klefki, I couldn't risk it. So I'm just going to click Sludge Wave. It does OHKO the Cloyster, so he can't set up on me unless he's Focus Sash or something like that. But he makes a kind of ballsy read and doubles out into his Chatot. I was expecting the Cloyster to have Ice Shard, but I really had no reason to save my Nidoking at that point in the match. Like I mentioned, it would blow away the Bisharp, but I've still got Hitmonlee in the back, and I really just couldn't let this thing set up, so I went for the Sludge Wave, and he ended up throwing away the Chatot. I understand the read, but I think in that case it kind of wasn't worth for him, and losing Chatot really hurts because now he's got nothing to outspeed my Greninja, which I can just freely bring out here and KO this Cloyster. Grass Knot is a guaranteed OHKO on most variants of Cloyster because it has no special bulk and it's pretty heavy, so I don't even bother going to my Grassy Z. I probably should have, in retrospect, just clicked it because no reason to risk anything, but Grass Knot's going to OHKO the Cloyster, and now the Bisharp's his only thing left. I really don't think he can set up and beat me at the same time. As long as I get some damage off, Mach Punch should be able to revenge kill him, even if he's like Choppleberry. So I just whack him with a Hydro Pump. Does 88%. Unless he's got Brick Break or something, he really can't touch me. Goes for the Rock Polish. Really just kind of his last-ditch effort here, but I've got the Hitmonlee in the back, so I don't care too much about that. And he reveals that he doesn't even have fighting coverage or anything like that to hit my Greninja. His best move was to go for the flinches there, but Greninja picking up its 4th kill of the match with yet another Dark Pulse. Greninja now has 10 kills on the season. I believe it's the league leader in kills 4 games in here. It's actually outpacing my Kieran Black from season 1, which is just ridiculous because it's a torrent Greninja. Like, can you imagine if we had Battle Bond or Protean Greninja in this league? Like, a lot of people have been jawing about not having at least Protean Greninja or something about that in the league. This Pokemon I grabbed in Tier 3. I really think we should move it up to Tier 2 next season. Something I kind of briefly thought about at the beginning of the season, but I hadn't used Greninja in League format ever, so I was like, I can't be like that good, right, without the Protean or the Battle Bond or anything like that. But this mon is just so versatile. It's got coverage for pretty much everything you would want, and a great speed tier. Like, it doesn't matter that it doesn't get the stab boost on everything. It doesn't matter that his offensive stats are not so great. It's just got amazing access to a great move pool. And it's been showing that this season. I mean, it's got freaking 10 kills through 4 games for a Greninja, a Tier 3 torrent Greninja. Like, I import this thing into the Showdown damage calc, and it automatically changes torrent to Protean because it like knows that nobody would ever run torrent in an actual ladder format. But Greninja coming through super clutch this game. Did end up being, I think that was Rock Polish Choppleberry on Bisharp there, so he could have actually beat my Hitmonlee potentially if he flinched me or something like that. Well, I guess he wouldn't be able to flinch me because I'd be going for Mach Punch. But I don't think Iron Head would kill me from full unless I count something wrong. Mach Punch still should have 2-KO'd him. But real dangerous game there. I was playing actually towards the end without even realizing it. I had kind of like memed about maybe him bringing like a Rock Polish Choppleberry Bisharp during prep, but I didn't think he'd actually like go ahead and do it. So that actually could have been really scary down towards the end of the game there, but we had enough health on everything left, and Greninja kind of coming through in the clutch there. I think the big play this game was the sacking of the Chatot. Unfortunately, it just came in and ate that Sludge Wave from the Nidoking, kind of over-predict there from Jacob. But otherwise, I think he played and prepped this really well. The Scarf Chatot was definitely a huge threat to my team, actually, looking back at what I built, because it does get Heat Wave for Klefki. But really great bring on his end. Sorry to see it kind of go down, and we could have seen how the game played out from there afterwards. But GG to Jacob. I know he'll bounce back going forward. He's 2-2 now, so not out of it by any means. It's a 10-week season, so kind of looking forward to what he's going to be able to do for the rest of the season here. And now we're sitting at 3-1, which is something like a 3 or 4-way tie for first place in our division. So really competitive division over here. We got a big game next week against John, coach of the Cantilever City Cherums. He is also 3-1, I believe, currently in like holding first place in our division, if I'm not mistaken. And John's a great battler. He was the league champion season 1. We beat him in the playoffs last season because we Thunder Waved his arrow turn 1, and it basically never got a move off. But definitely looking forward to the rematch against John. That's kind of another rubber match there. We're both picked up a win and a loss against each other in the past. So excited for next week. Excited to kind of keep moving forward here. And we're going to make another playoff push as the season goes forward here. This was the bye week for kind of explaining why this video is a little bit late. We had a week 4 and then couldn't play that week, and Jacob agreed to do the battle this week during the bye week. So it came in a little late, but we're kind of back on schedule now with both the VPL and ABC. ABC game will be going up kind of shortly after this, maybe a day or two later, depending on when I get to record and everything. But GG to Jacob, nice 3-0 win for us going forward, and thank you guys all very much for watching. If you're interested, I'll hope to see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye-bye.